right, so I'm Peter, and this is what my face looks like. Jessica, what does your face look like?
Like this. Hello.
So this is Jessica Wohl. She's an associate professor of art and artist in her own right. And I'm going to ask her 2 questions. She knows what I'm going to ask her. She's going to ask me 2 questions. I don't know what she's going to ask me. So first question, Jessica. In your teaching and in your art, what gives you a sense of purpose and meaning?
Well, I feel like there's a quote by Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel.
Love him.
That
Yeah.
says something to the effect of, in any unjust society, not all are guilty, but all are responsible.
Yeah.
And so I take that pretty seriously. I start most of my artist talks with that quote. And
Nice.
I feel like I use my work and I use my platform as a professor to try to make a difference, really. And I try to do that as best as I can, not just in terms of social issues or things of that nature, but really more to help students realize that they can use their art making to find themselves, to work through things that are problematic to them, that they don't understand, to try to maybe sometimes for I've had students who have been so surrounded with trauma and struggle, and they can actually use their work as a form of escape from that, a way to heal from that, without feeling like they have to solve the problem globally.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the mission that drives a lot of the philosophies in my teaching practice, when I create my syllabi, when I create lists of artists for my students to study from, and even in my own work, like thinking carefully about the kinds of messages that I want to put out, the kinds of questions that I want to ask. So, yeah.
That is awesome. No follow-ups. That was awesome.
Okay.
All right, so that is tremendous work. And so, but it also is taxing. So how do you feed your soul to do that work?
So I really try to spend as much time with my family as possible. That I really try to keep a boundary between work and home as much as I can, and really treat my time with my husband and my son as sacred, and also really try to prioritize time in my studio, because when I am in my studio, that's just a way for me to center myself. It's, even though it's work, and even though it's like part of what I have to do as a professor here is continue to create, produce work and have scholarship. I guess I'm lucky in the sense that making that work is what calms me down. And when I don't get time in the studio, I get really cranky. Yeah. So I really have to make that a priority as well. So those are the 2 things that I really do to kind of focus and calm down. What was the exact words?
No, you got it. How do you feed your soul?
Feed my soul.
And it's, I mean, what a gift to find work that you are passionate about that is still work, but also is renewing.
Yeah, and I will say that, I really do feel fortunate in this job, in the sense that, like, it also feeds my soul to work with the students and help them, like I was saying in the answer to the first question, like, I had 2 particular students this last year who were dealing with some really, really heavy things, and I think that through their work, they were able to find clarity and come out of that. Maybe not forever, but they had a lot of growth, and that feeds my soul too. That maybe there's something that I can do to help other people through their work. Become the people that they are, find their voice, feel whole, have their soul fed, those kinds of things. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so what questions have you got for me?
Okay, so questions for you. So as a member of our campus that is not Christian, not Episcopalian, I'm wondering what you will do in your role here as chaplain to make members of our community, particularly our students who are not Christian and not Episcopalian, feel like they are just as much of a vibrant part of our community as those who are.
Yeah. So I think my role is to do what I can to care for the spiritual needs of all the students of this place, as well as faculty and staff. And so that looks different for a student who shows up as an Episcopalian or shows up and is interested in the Episcopal Church to somebody who's got no interest in it. And when you move to that latter situation, I think that my role is to be, first of all, available and make it clear that I'm not just here for the Episcopal students, but also for however you want to use me as a resource. But also it's my role to be a partner with other groups on campus, other community partners, to help figure out how to meet the needs that folks have. And I think also, and this is a small thing, but it's something that I want to be intentional about. Church folks, priests in particular, have a tendency to use jargon. I guess we all do that. And I can't help but be who I am, and I can't help but have the job and the perspective that I have, but I think I can be intentional about explaining what I'm doing, what I think I'm doing, explaining terminology that I might be using that's not familiar if you're not from inside an Episcopal context. So I hope that that's also a piece of availability and hospitality. All right, you got another one?
Yeah. It's a little more lighthearted. I decided to change it at the last minute.
Okay.
What are you reading? What are you reading these days?
I am reading...
outside of the Bible, I suppose you read that probably every day.
Yes, most days. I am reading Prophet of Freedom, which is the biography of Frederick Douglass that came out a couple years ago. I'm kind of a history nerd. I didn't realize that until almost the end of graduate school. And so I'm now catching up for all my lost time. And it is great. I mean, it's dense. It's not a quick read. But I love biography, and I love American history in particular.
Great.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.